Now we're going to do K. So now you can see my mouse. Before, in the previous example, you couldn't. All right, so the word if over here, that's going to be okay because I know that that's going to be kind of grouped into that symbol. She shot intentionally. That's going to have to be defined as a propositional variable because none of my guys here can handle it. Like or and this, like she shot intentionally, that's none of these things. So I'm going to have to put P as she shot intentionally. Then, okay, that's captured within the arrow. She is guilty of murder. Okay, so she is guilty of murder is also not contained at all there. So I'll have to label this she is guilty of murder. And then a good way to check to see if you're making sense with your labeling of the predicates, just ask yourself if these sentences can be answered with a true or false. So like, did she shoot intentionally? Yes, no. Those are like logical answers that make intuitive sense. So this is a good possible propositional variable. And then she is guilty of murder. Like you can ask, is she guilty of murder? And you can say, yes, she is, or no, she isn't, or true or false. And so those responses are fair to both of these. So I'm doing a good job. Okay, I'm here now. If, again, that's contained here, she shot intentionally. Okay, that she shot intentionally is not contained here, but I already labeled it. So it'd be like if P. Then, again, that's from here, she is guilty of manslaughter. Okay, PQ, let's do R. She is guilty of manslaughter. Okay. She shot intentionally or unintentionally. Okay, so she shot intentionally I've already defined, or unintentionally. You might think, do I need to define unintentionally as its own thing? No, because what this is really saying is she shot intentionally or she shot unintentionally. And so this is already defined. It's almost like the sentence is assuming that you can recognize that like these two words, like she and shot, are there. So she shot unintentionally is wait a second, I didn't define she shot unintentionally, did I? I didn't. I only defined she shot intentionally. So she shot unintentionally, you could define it as like another variable, like you could put it as S, but if anything is ever the opposite of something that's already been defined, so like she shot unintentionally is the opposite of the already defined she shot intentionally, then she shot unintentionally can just be written as like not P. Like it's not the case that she shot intentionally, because that would mean the same thing. That would be a lot better and simpler than being like S, she shot unintentionally, because you can just use P with a minus in front. Therefore, okay, the therefore is captured by this symbol. She is guilty of murder or manslaughter. So she is guilty of murder is already defined as Q. The whole manslaughter thing, what they mean is she is guilty of murder or she's guilty of manslaughter, and that's already defined. Okay, so let me try my best to write this as a sentence. So if she shot intentionally, so she shot intentionally is P, and then the if indicates that I would have a little arrow after that. Then she is guilty of murder. So if P, then Q. So that's kind of going to be like my first predicate. Not predicate, sorry, my first premise. My second premise is if she shot unintentionally. Okay, so if, do I have unintentionally listed? No, I have intentionally. And what I was saying before is that I could like write that as like, so if it's not the case that she shot intentionally, then she is guilty of manslaughter. So then Q. And then I have my third, she shot intentionally or unintentionally. So she shot intentionally is P, and then I have an or because it literally said it there. So that's my or. Unintentionally would be not P. And then my conclusion is, therefore, she is guilty of murder or she is guilty of manslaughter. So it would be she is guilty of murder or she is guilty of manslaughter. You see that mistake that I made over there? If she shot unintentionally, then she is guilty of manslaughter. This is if she shot unintentionally, then I put Q, but I should have put R because it's then she is guilty of manslaughter, not she is guilty of murder. So let me just fix that right there. Okay, so these are all of my three premises, and then I have my conclusion over here. So to set it up in the truth table, what I do is I have my little left side over here, which I always like to highlight with the little yellow. I like to highlight it because I know that whatever's on this side is just going to be like my letters, and then whatever's on this side is going to be like the joining of all three of my premises, and then like my conclusion. So this is just going to be like letter zone, and actually it's going to be pretty big because I have an R in there, right? So I have P, I have Q, and I have R. And just because I have not Q, that doesn't mean, or not P, I mean, that doesn't mean I have to put not P here. It's literally just like the clean letters. Okay, so for this, T, 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 F, 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 F. Hold on one sec, I'll pause this, I'll spare you. So here are my letters, and then on this side, what I need to do is I need to do, I think I wrote it, yeah, I need to do this thing where I join all of my premises with that and symbol, and then I replace the double arrow with a single arrow, and then I write my conclusion. So when I put my premises here and I join them with the and, I'll put them in brackets. That's what you should always do. And then you should put them in like big brackets like this, like all of them in big brackets. So like here we have P, then Q. Then we have like an and between here. And then we have not P, then R. And then we have like an and between here. And then I have P or not P, and then I close, and then I do big bracket, and then the therefore is his double arrow, which is okay to put as a single arrow, and then the conclusion of Q or R. Okay, lovely. So whatever's under this arrow right here, it has to be all T's, otherwise my argument is invalid, and that's always the case. So again, you just look for the arrow that's representing your big therefore, and it has to be all true underneath, otherwise it's invalid. So over here, if P then Q, well, in this row, P is Q and P is true and Q is true as well. So if P then Q would ring true, okay? But over here, for example, actually it's the same thing. P is true and Q is also true. So then this arrow would be true, but here the arrow would be false because you have a P going to a, which is true, going to a Q, which is false. So it's like a truth going to a falsehood. So that would be false. This one would also be false because true to false. False to true is okay. The reason why I'm going for P to Q is because there's a P here and a Q here. So it's like, that's where I'm looking. You can also like repeat this line right under here if it really helps you. So for P to Q over here, I'm going to say that this one is true because false to true is fine. False to true is fine again. False to false, that's okay. False to false. Okay, that's for this guy. Now let me try this guy over here. So this is going to be, okay, this not P right here. Well, if P itself is true, then the not over here would be false. Because the not is always opposite of the truth value of this. So then this would be false, 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 true, 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 true. If you're wondering how I'm deciding like where to put my my letters, I'm putting them underneath each logical connective. So like not underneath the letters themselves, but like underneath this, eventually under this, this, and this. That's where I'm putting them. Then for not P goes to R. Okay, so not P is false, R is true. So false to true is fine, true. False to false, that is true. False to true, that's okay. False to false, that's fine. True to true, that's okay. True to false, there we go. True to true, that's fine. And then true to false, that's another false one. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so for this one, it's P or not P. So I got to do the not before I do the or because it's like a tinier connective. It holds on to less than the or, which hold on to the two things. So the not would be the opposite of whatever P says here. So it would be like false, 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 true, 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 true. Okay, now we have P or not P. So P itself, according to this row, is true. So I have true or false, which is true. Here I have true or false, which is true. True or false, which is true. true or false, which is true. Remember with or, it's just one of them has to be true. So in this case, it's always been P. And then over here, I can just see going down, like this is true going down. So like it doesn't even matter what this is. I mean, it's all false, but like one side is always true. So that means that everything here is going to be true. Okay, as for these ands, like you can interpret this and as kind of like taking in these two, and then maybe actually it would be better. I would actually encourage you to put like extra brackets here, because an and should really hold on to two things, and then this and should hold on to like all of this and all of this. You can think of it as like a triplet, but that kind of confuses me, and it's not the way that I'm used to thinking of things. Usually like I don't like something to be shared between two ands, so I'll like add extra brackets if I need to. It doesn't change the truth value of the whole thing. Like with and, you can kind of add brackets wherever you want, but not with other connectives. Don't do that. But with and, it's okay. So with the and, the major thing on the left side of this and is listed under this arrow right here, and then the major thing listed on the right side of this and, it wouldn't be the not, it would be the arrow over here. So I'm going to be comparing this to this. So true and true is true. True and true is true. This is going to be false because this is false. This is going to be false because this is false. They both have to be true, right, for the and to be okay? This is true, false, because we have false here and true here. True and false. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is for this and right here, it's going to be a mix of this symbol and this symbol. That's the, like, this symbol is the main thing on the left side of this and then this symbol is the main thing on the right side of this and. So like T and T is true, T and T is true. This is like false and true, so that's false, false and true. So that's false, true and true, false and true. Oh wait, what did I just do? What was this? This is true and true, so that's true. False and true, so that's false, true and true is true, false and true is false. Okay, so this is like the main guy right here so far for all of this. And then over here, Q or R, well, just one of them needs to be true. So here it's going to be true and true, because here both of them are true. Here just Q is true, but either one is fine. Here just R is true. Here neither of them are true, because like FF, here we have, let me just look down, true, 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 and then false, because they're both false, so I'll just remember that. Okay, now for this arrow right here, what we're going to be doing is, let me just get rid of these guys so that there's some room. With this arrow, it's going to be the majorest thing on the left versus the majorest thing on the right. So it's going to be like this thing versus this thing, because this is like the biggest piece in all of this. So it's like true, arrow, true, that's fine. True, arrow, true, that's fine. False, arrow, true, that's fine. False, arrow, false, that's okay. True, arrow, true, that's fine. False, arrow, true, that's fine. True, arrow, true, that's fine. False, arrow, false. That is a-okay. Okay, so then this argument is valid, because under my like big boy therefore, I have like a whole line of truths. Means that it's a tautology, but in terms of like, if you just want to get the question right, this is all you have to do. I would encourage you, like the way that I learned logic was I kind of learned it this way, and then I started to dig deeper into the meaning. I'm kind of like a robot before I'm a philosopher, which is frustrating at times, because I often like want to understand things before I can be mechanical about them, but like try and master this. And then I would definitely encourage you guys to learn a little bit deeper